I'll just get on with it. This is Alice in Other Land. Mine is an immigrant experience, and coming to this country means that it was inevitable that I change the landscape. We brought with us another language, another culture. Change is difficult for some people, even downright scary for some. But let's just say food, to use an easy example. If someone is bringing with them a knowledge of ingredients that complement each other in such a way as to taste phenomenal, why should anyone try to stop that from happening? There is no country that exists that is entirely perfect, including the one we are living in now. So I was born in Chile, from a Chilean mother and an Argentinian father, and I was brought up here in England. I guess other is a vague enough term to cover my ethnic background. The table was a large one, but the three were all crowded together at one corner of it. No room, no room, they cried out when they saw Alice coming. But there's plenty of room, said Alice indignantly, and she sat down in a large armchair at one end of the table. Have some wine, the March Hare said in an encouraging tone. Alice looked all around the table, but there was nothing but tea. I don't see any wine, she remarked. There isn't any, said the March Hare. Well, that wasn't very civil of you to offer it, said Alice angrily. It wasn't very civil of you to sit down without being invited, said the March Hare. I didn't know it was your table, said Alice. It's laid for a great many more than three. Being ethnically ambiguous means that you are actively ignored. Even in the work environment, you can see the fruitful stand of opportunities, but you're not invited to that table because you are other, and you are difficult to categorise. So if the doors are closed, who will open them for us? Who is going to remove that glass ceiling? If we decide to push for a place at that table, then we are judged as arrogant and rude, not forthright and correct. I believe that by categorising me as other has meant that my school life wasn't as positive as it should have been. I left school thinking I was stupid and with low self-esteem. Luckily, my family always supported me though. Others aren't so lucky. And how do you know you're mad? To begin with, said the cat. A dog's not mad, you grant that. I suppose so, said Alice. Well then, the cat went on, you see, a dog growls when it's angry and wags its tail when it's pleased. Now I growl when I'm pleased and wag my tail when I'm angry. Therefore, I am mad. I call it purring, not growling, said Alice. The term other makes you feel different, like an outsider. You don't fit in if you're not part of a collective. You can observe, but you can't participate. This is what a national statistic article has to say about the other box. Other mixed, other Asian, other ethnic, and other black are relatively small. It is therefore difficult to obtain sufficient numbers from survey data to explore their characteristics, and consequently are not often discussed in research reports. Where results are shown about them in reports, it is often difficult to interpret them, knowing little about the people who make up these groups. And in comparison, what the same article says about being part of an ethnic group is a collectivity within a larger population having a real or putative common ancestry, memories of a shared past, and cultural focus upon one or more symbolic elements which define the group's identity, such as kinship, religion, language and shared territory, nationality or physical appearance. Members of an ethnic group are conscious of being an ethnic group. Therefore, being mixed means being a minority within a minority. So some people are suspicious of difference, and we aren't categories, are we? Each one of us is a complex bag of skin and bones, emotions, thoughts, memories and insecurities. There is no box that represents that. That is why every time I am asked to tick a census form about what ethnic group I belong to, it makes me feel like I'm stepping through the looking glass. The caterpillar and Alice looked at each other for some time in silence. At last, the caterpillar took the hookah out of his mouth and addressed her in a languid and sleepy voice. "Who are you?" said the caterpillar. This was not an encouraging opening for a conversation. Alice replied rather shyly, I hardly know, sir, just at present. At least I know who I was when I got up this morning, but I think I must have changed several times since then." "What do you mean by that?" said the caterpillar sternly. "Explain yourself." "I can't explain myself, I'm afraid, sir," said Alice, "because I am not myself, you see. It's almost like having to justify my existence somehow. I understand the intent of having a census form and why it exists, yet I'm so suspicious of it. I'm not sure if having to explain away my ethnicity is racist. I ask myself, are people so paranoid that they need to know where you were born geographically? Will it stop someone from having a panic attack if I tell them my country of birth? In a world that is so full of boxes, I can't help wondering it's just another marketing tool. If I tick the correct box, so I get a free gift. I understand if you're going to go for an operation and it's a question that might save your life in regards to your blood type, but in any other instance, I struggle to see its relevance. And people are so suspicious of difference, aren't they? The question of race and identity in this country may have its origins in an imperialistic past. The ghettoization of different ethnic groups have made it easy for the ruling class to separate us and keep us fighting amongst ourselves. By being so general about ethnicity, our differences between the races are being completely overlooked. This is problematic as it lumps together such variance and concentrates only on our appearance, which is other, to whiteness. "Idiot," said the Queen, tossing her head impatiently, and turning to Alice, she went on, "What's your name, child?" "My name is Alice, so please, your Majesty," said Alice very politely, but she added to herself, "Why, they're only a pack of cards after all, I needn't be afraid of them." "And who are these?" said the Queen, pointing to the three gardeners who were lying round the rose tree. For you see, as they were lying on their faces and the pattern on their backs was the same as the rest of the pack, she could not tell whether they were gardeners or soldiers or courtiers or three of her own children. "How should I know?" said Alice, surprised at her own courage. "It's no business of mine." The Queen turned crimson with fury, and after glaring at her for a moment like a wild beast, screamed, "Off! Off with her head!" "Nonsense," said Alice, very loudly and decidedly, and the Queen was silent. So without trying to be too precious about it, my experience of being a performer has held the key for me to unlocking parts of my identity. Wearing masks has meant that I can express myself freely. I can portray what I feel and think without having to adhere to outside rules. Oftentimes in certain groups, I'm a minority of one and feel the need to shout very loudly in order to be heard. As some people try